Hi and welcome to Lead Well, the podcast for you if you want to get better at leading yourself and leading others. This is Christine Schickinger, your host, looking into how you can achieve peak performance while keeping a peaceful mind. Have you been feeling exhausted recently? Last few days, maybe even weeks, maybe even months? Well, it turns out you're not alone. In a recent study by McKinsey Health, where they interviewed around about 30,000 employees worldwide, turns out that 42% of people are feeling exhausted on a regular basis. And exhaustion, they define it as a severe loss of energy that results in mental and physical tiredness. And exhaustion, by the way, is one of 4 symptoms that, if all of them are present, are known as the symptom of a burnout. The other one is mental distance, having a strong aversion or even a reluctance to work. That's when you really don't want to go to work and you dread Monday morning because that means returning to your workplace. Cognitive impairment is a third one. And that means that your attention and concentration is not where it used to be. You may be experiencing memory problems and poor mental performance. The last one is emotional impairment, and that is an intense emotional reaction of feelings of being overwhelmed by emotions. I have to say I've been there and done that. I went through a burnout in 2015, and to say the truth, it wasn't nice. It was really the hardest period in my life. What was especially striking for me was that I felt so sad and I felt so desperate. And this is not me, because usually I am Miss Cheerful. I am Miss Smiling. I usually always have a smile on my face and make sure that I make smile all people around me. And even myself was into a place where smiling got difficult. Now, if you're in this situation right now, then please do not hesitate and get help. And that's what I actually did at that time. Today, looking back, I have to say I would know better now, because I know that there are signs that I should have looked out for. There are signs to recognize when exhaustion, when burnout is creeping around the corner. There are signs like, yes, you're feeling exhausted all of the time. There are signs like you have a stomach ache. And now I have tools and I have techniques to counteract, because for the last almost 10 years, I have been looking very intensely into what can I do and what can be done to actually prevent a burnout situation, to prevent the extreme situation where people can't even lift their hand anymore. They cannot get out of bed because they feel so exhausted. I would love to share all these techniques and tools with you at once, because I'm so into helping others. I'm so into supporting you wherever I can. But if I did that, I would probably have to talk for 24 hours, and I doubt you would listen to that. So what I will do in this podcast, I will share one piece at a time. I will make it easy for you to first understand what is it that brings me into this situation where I feel exhausted, where my team members feel exhausted. Because if you remember, this podcast is called Lead Well. And well, of course, alludes to well-being, because I'm convinced that there is a way to leading in a way that yourself and also the people around you can feel better. So we will look into what can you do to lead yourself better. I will provide you with small exercises that help you relax at the spot and regain energy. For example, by switching off your thoughts. We'll also talk about leading others so that you help them not feel overwhelmed. Now and then I will also share some animal-inspired lessons because I have been working with people and their animals for about 6 years now. And I find it so interesting that a lot of what I'm going through or what these people are going through with their animals and how they start getting to know them better and how they start getting to lead them better can be actually also applied to other leadership situations, like leading a team in a corporate environment. So we will absolutely include that, and I will share whatever I have learned from my lessons with these wonderful animals, be it dogs or cats or horses. You might say, well, Christine, now just start. And yes, I will start pretty soon. But for now, let me share a bit about the methods that I have been learning over the last few years and that I feel make a huge difference. So just recently, 2 years ago, I came across a method that is called PQ, Positive Intelligence. To me, this really is the quickest way to control how you react to the things that are happening in your life. Because things happen. And the one thing that we can do as humans, we can decide how we react to it. Do we react to it as if it was a tragedy? Do we react to it as if it was a gift? Because at the end of the day, I love the English saying, what if this did not happen to you, but for you? And this gives us a completely different perspective because we start looking for what's in there. What is the hidden gem in everything that is happening? And so this PQ program, to me, really is the one that has broken it down to the mere minimum. And in just 6 weeks, it helps transform and change people's lives. The other method that I'm really fond of and that I'm using a lot is Neurographica. And it's a method that uses pen and paper. And you might ask, well, Christine, how can I use that when you're doing a podcast? So maybe some of these episodes will be in a video format so that you can actually see me draw. What I found out from Neurographica, we are using shapes, we are using lines, and we are using these visuals so that whenever we have a coaching situation, you don't have to consciously know what you're experiencing. Because your unconscious will help you put the shapes on paper and then you can actually see them and you can actually deduct your results from it. To me, Neurographica really is the most profound and also unexpected tool that we can use to make a change and to actually create better results. One of the models that I love using, especially with my leaders, is a model around capabilities, around strength, where in a visual format you find out what is it that you actually are capable of, the skills that you have, and also how you can employ them for what needs to be done. So while it might seem that Neurographica is just something for the creative people, for those who love to draw, I actually have been using it successfully with quite a lot of my leaders to make sure that they get a better understanding, a quicker grasp of what's going on in their lives. The other tool and method that I will be talking about and I will be sharing with you is trust technique. The trust technique, that's the method that I'm actually teaching to people when it comes to their relationship with their animals. Because the trust technique is based on the premise that we all share feelings. And you might have experienced that when you walk in a room, you probably can sense whether there is a consensus amongst the people there or whether there was an argument going on before you step in. And our animals can sense that much more immediate than we do as humans. In the trust technique, we use that, we leverage that by getting into a very peaceful state ourselves so that the animal can understand, well, now I can be peaceful. And of course, the nice effect that this has on us as well is that we get into a peaceful state. And what else is necessary to actually have a wonderful life? From the trust technique, I learned so much. I learned so important it is to actually watch and listen, to observe, to not always try to interfere when anything is going on, when anyone else is talking about an issue, but how important it is to actually spend time with them and be there with them and for them by just giving them the space to express themselves. Now, these are the things that I will be talking about in this podcast. I will also share books with you, and one that has really changed my perception. I read it only last year. Actually, I listened to it because I tend to listen to books. This is the book 4,000 Weeks. I would call it Time Management Reinvented. And I don't give you a lot of additional information about it because I think you definitely should read it. If you think that you have time constraints, then this is for you. So that's the book 4,000 Weeks. And I'm pretty sure that in a later episode, I'll talk about it if by then you have not already read it. I will also invite guests to my episodes because I know so many fascinating people and I would love you to get to know them as well and get all the wisdom from them. And in every episode, starting today, I will also give you a quick exercise to relax and to control your thoughts, because for me personally, the one thing that had most impact on how I feel on a constant basis is the fact that I can switch off my thoughts at any time, whenever I want to. I'll make sure to share whatever I have learned so that you will be able to do that as well. So far, I have helped hundreds to feel better and become a better leader. And while I'm saying that, I'm like, oh wow, this sounds crazy, but I counted them. And yes, I did. So yes, I can say that. And it's a journey. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not something that happens after listening to one episode. But I would love to take you along one step at a time. Now, to finish off today, let me share one exercise with you that helps focusing your thoughts on something non-threatening. I shared that with a friend of mine just recently because she was going into a surgery and she was pretty anxious. We did that exercise together, and in the morning she dropped me a note saying, well, Christine, the entire night I was breathing in rectangles. And that's exactly what we will do here. So if you have the opportunity to just stand still or sit, have your eyes open, and look in front of you and look around whether you find anything in a rectangular shape. Then look at the left lower corner of that shape. And while you look up the left side of the rectangle, you breathe in. Keep your breath while you're looking from the left upper corner to the right upper corner. Then you breathe down by going down that side so you end up on that spot on the lower right. Hold your breath, go back to the left bottom. Breathe in again, looking up. Go across, holding your breath on the top. Go down again on the right, breathing out. And hold your breath going back to the lower left. Do that a few times. And one thing to even increase the relaxation is to actually have a longer right side than left side. So breathe in more quickly, keep your breath, and then breathe out very slowly over a longer time. And go back to the left side where you breathe in again. And you can do that for just 2 or 3 breaths. You can do that for a longer time as you like. I hope that this will bring you the relaxation that you needed just now. Thank you for now, and may you always lead well, yourself and others. This was Lead Well. Now, what is the one thing that you're taking away from this episode? Please share in the comments below, and do share the podcast with your friends and family, but only if you like it.